Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I thank God that I'm back after the encounter with those thugs that beat me and robbed me of my gadgets. I've been recuperating well, and now at least I've got some reprieve. I can now sit before the camera and do a video. I also want to thank the members of this channel who assisted me to get at least a phone to continue with the shooting, because they took away my laptop, my phone, the stand, all the gadgets that I had. And when I shared my concern, people responded, and I want to thank you very much. I also want to thank Kevin Oduor, the bold, who shared my video, and the members of the bold also contributed something. And as a result of that, I have something to help me produce the videos from the bottom of my heart. May God bless you. Thank you very much. Now, the former governor of Kiambu, Ferdinand Waititu, is saying something that is very, very curious, and people are wondering what we make of the statements and now, why now? Ferdinand Waititu is saying that before the election, William Ruto called me, Kiraitu Murungi, and Francis Kimemia for a meeting where he promised that one of us would be his deputy. We are now about 17 months after the last election. Ferdinand Waititu, a man who was impeached, he was a governor of Kiambu, and experts thought that he was not very friendly or with Uhuru Kenyatta. They were not really getting along. And many believe that as a result of that, and because of his what we call misconduct, Ferdinand Waititu fell a victim of impeachment as a Kiambu governor. And because of that bitterness, he supported William Ruto very openly. He's now coming out to tell us that the search for running mate was not confined to Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, and Kithure Kindiki, as we have always been told. He's now telling us that him, Kiraitu Murungi, and Francis Kimemia were also part of this game. What do you make of that statement? And I know the first question that one would want to ask, why now? The answer would be very simple. You know, Ferdinand Waititu has been very patient because he thought that after William Ruto was sworn in, he would be given something. If at all the statements are true that William Ruto met them, even if he didn't get an opportunity to become a running mate, I know he thought that within a period of maybe 6 months or to 1 year, William Ruto would fix him somewhere. That did not happen. He also had a case which he thought that William Ruto maybe would help, and I think he didn't get that assistance, and that is why he's now coming up to accuse William Ruto, or to reveal to us that they were also promised to become running mates. Now, Ferdinand Waititu is coming from Kiambu, and if there is one county that is going to give William Ruto a lot of problems, it is Kiambu County. That is where the former president is coming from, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Now, let us just remind ourselves, it is in Kiambu where members of that county were filmed praying and crying to God to forgive them for not listening to Uhuru when Uhuru warned them against electing William Samoei Ruto. They have done that. It is in Kiambu where the governor there, Kimani Wamatangi, has remained adamant to release part of the county land for William Ruto's project of the affordable housing. And he's got question marks how William Ruto wants their lands and how it will be sold to private developers. And Muthoni wa Mushomba is also coming from that county. A lady who has stood firm, in fact, the first member of parliament who opposed William Ruto's housing levy, and she has remained steadfast about this housing levy, also coming from Kiambu. Now, Kiambu is not going to be very, very easy for William Ruto. This statement is coming just a day after another senior member of Kiambu County, William Kabogo, who is also a former governor, came out yesterday and was wondering where Kenyans leave their brains whenever they are voting, and he was wondering just how Kenyans voted William Ruto in the last election. So that is Kiambu. And from the onset, this tells you that Kiambu is boiling. It is almost reaching a boiling point. So that as William Ruto is trying to, make arrangements and is telling Ndindi Nyoro to check Muranga and Rigathi Gachagua is in Nyeri, Kiambu is not keeping quiet. But then, this is something that is very serious and we need to understand this. That as William Ruto was campaigning and he approached the hustlers and hoodwinked them with a lot of fake promises, or promises that he thought were going to be very easy to implement, like lowering down the cost of living, the fallacy was not only confined to the hustlers and the mamambogas. He went ahead and deceived even leaders, national leaders like Ferdinand Waititu. And one wonders whether Ferdinand is serious. Do you think Ferdinand Waititu could become a deputy president? Of course, in Kenya it is possible. I know Ferdinand has had a problem with these certificates, his conduct. He was also impeached of allegations of corruption, and I think he's still battling it in court. But I want you to imagine a William Ruto and Ferdinand Waititu candidate. I think it's almost the same as William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. But William Ruto went ahead to deceive our national leaders. So Ferdinand was there, Francis Kimeme was there, and Kiraitu Murungi. I wonder how Kiraitu Murungi went ahead and stood as a governor. Of course, he was defeated, but he was quick to ditch Azimio. When you mention Francis Kimemia, then you know that what comes to your mind is part of the deep state. Because Francis Kimemia are one of the people who are very close to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. He was a close friend to the former president, the late Mwai Kibaki. Then Uhuru inherited part of that deep state. And people thought that they would be very close to Uhuru and they would listen to him. It is Francis Kimemia who came out and told Kenyans that they used fallacious statements to tarnish Raila's name, to cheat the people of Mount Kenya. And he declared in a public rally that they were going to take that responsibility to sanitize Raila Amolo Odinga. So when I hear Ferdinand Waititu saying that Francis was called and was promised that he would be a running mate, it baffles me. So this is the real software of William Samoei Ruto. When you are campaigning, you deceive everyone. And you now know that even leaders fell as victims. And it makes me wonder whether the real deep state was with Uhuru Kenyatta. That is something that I still don't understand. I have always maintained that the same trick that William Ruto used by calling leaders and promising them that you'd be a running mate and all that is the same thing that he's doing now. William Ruto is using this succession politics kind of bait and a trap. He has told Rigathi Gachagua that you've been tried and tested. And so Rigathi knows very well, or he thinks that when William Ruto does his two term, because that is what they believe, then he will automatically inherit that power. But Ndindi Nyoro is also being groomed, and I believe he has been told, you are the next kingpin. That is why in the recent past, you realize that there was a lot of controversy. Leaders from Muranga did not hide their intent, and they said that it is time for Ndindi Nyoro. If you look at the way Kimani Ichung'wah is behaving, Kimani Ichung'wah is in the mix, and I have a feeling that he has also been promised Don't forget that the son of Mulembe, Mudavadi, has also been promised the same seat. Wetangula is in the mix. So what William Ruto is doing is that he's keeping them waiting, and is going to achieve one purpose, that in 2027, all these leaders have agreed that they are not going to contest. They're all going to support William Ruto. Fire is going to be lit in the second term if William Ruto is going to manage a two-term. In his second term, he will have nothing to lose. And that is when you will know the real William Ruto. We are likely to see the controversy that came up between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, when Uhuru felt that William Ruto was running ahead of his time and had started campaigning. You know, William Ruto started campaigning 1 year before. In fact, some people say immediately Uhuru Kenyatta was sworn in, William Ruto started campaigning for 2022. And so after Ruto's presidency, whether one term or two terms, it is going to be very difficult for him to control all these leaders. And these leaders are going to see what real betrayal is. I have a feeling that Rigathi Gachagua might be betrayed because William Ruto will have nothing to lose. So the same trick that he used is the same trick he's using on leaders now. And it is high time that these leaders understand. Maybe this is a message to Ndindi Nyoro, a message to Kimani Chungwa, a message to all these leaders. Kimemia was promised, Kiritu Murungi was promised. And I know people might argue that maybe Ferdinand Waititu wants a job. He cannot come up with such, allegations. I want to believe him. Because knowing William Ruto for who he is, I believe he must have promised them. Now, I don't know, between William Ruto and Ferdinand Waititu, who was fooling who? Do you believe or do you think that Ferdinand Waititu would have believed William Ruto that among all the leaders who had worked with him for almost a year, he was going to give Ferdinand Waititu anything? It was to make them stagnant in UDA or in Kenya Kwanza, or to ensure that they supported William Samoei Ruto. But Kabogo is now making noise because he's in the cold. You know, for a leader who was used to getting something every month, he has been a governor, he has been a member of parliament, Ferdinand Waititu wants to be squeezed somewhere. He's making noise because in Kenyan politics, you have to make a lot of noise if you have to succeed. For Kimemia, because he couldn't have just guessed names, Kimemia and Kiraitu Murungi. But even these leaders, really, do you think Kimemia or Kiraitu Murungi wangetoboa mahali kulikuwa na Gachagua? People had used their money, people had used their resources, people had worked with William Ruto for long. I mean, this is the height of being gullible, because Ferdinand is only telling us that he was very gullible. This is the same thing that William Ruto did to the judges. He took advantage of the controversy between the judges, the disagreement between the judges or the judiciary and Uhuru Kenyatta. He quickly appointed the judges that Uhuru Kenyatta had declined to appoint. Now he's telling them that you are corrupt, the same way he cheated. So wherever you are, whether you are a mama mboga, mtu wa boda boda, the hustler, now you understand that everyone had his fair share of being hoodwinked and deceived by William Samoei Ruto. Let us be very careful with our leaders. Let us scrutinize them. And Kiambu is boiling. It is going to be a thorn in the flesh to William Samoei Ruto. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.